My sister-in-law fired me in front of everyone on the very first day. He didn't know who had funded the business. I picked up my bag, smiled, and texted one person that very evening a board meeting was held, without her name. The sound of being fired still echoes in my ears today, because that voice was not a boss's, it was my sister-in-law's. The conference room was glass, in front of everyone. She closed the file, looked at me, and spoke in a tone as if the decision had already been made. "We don't need you anymore. You were never a fit from day one." The room was silent, the kind of silence where even the creak of chairs feels like humiliation. I didn't say anything. I still had the blue badge in my hand that I had picked up from reception that morning. I gently placed it on the table, picked up my bag, and smiled. The smile wasn't real, but it wasn't fake either. It was the kind of smile a person wears to keep themselves from falling. This wasn't my first job, but it was the first time I had been let go like this. And it wasn't my first humiliation either, but it was the first time it came in the name of family. I had been married for 7 years. We lived in a small town in Ohio, a rented apartment, an old car, and the same ordinary American worries: health insurance bills, credit card balances, and the constant fear of the end of the month. I hadn't asked for the job at that company. They had called me. It was my husband's family business, a mid-sized manufacturing company. My sister-in-law was now the CEO. Everyone knew I was family, but no one knew how deeply. They saw me as an in-law who had been given a chance, not as someone whose presence carried weight. When I reached the parking lot, the cold cut straight into my bones. I sat in the car, shut the door, pulled out my phone, and sent a message to one person. I wrote only one word: now. His name was one people rarely remembered, but in the company documents, his signature appeared at the very bottom, where no one usually looked. My story doesn't begin that day, but that day makes it understandable. 7 years earlier, when my husband's father passed away, the company was drowning in debt. The bank was about to shut down its credit line. That was when I took a step no one talks about at family dinners. I quietly invested my mother's life insurance money, the payout I received after she died, into the company. There were no announcements, no applause, no gratitude. Just a private agreement, a trust, and one condition: my name would not be made public. I never wanted to display power. I wanted stability. I was tired of switching jobs, terrified of medical bills, exhausted by uncertainty. I thought a family business would be safe, that loyalty would protect me. I was wrong. There was pride in my sister-in-law's voice. She believed the company was hers, her decisions, her people, her authority. She saw me as just an in-law, not a risk. She didn't know who had funded the lifeline that saved the company, or under what terms that money had come. That same evening, at 6 o'clock, a board meeting was called. I didn't receive an invitation. I stopped myself from reacting in anger. I cooked a simple dinner, closed the folder of unpaid bills, and turned off the TV. At 7, my phone lit up with the same forgotten name. "We need to talk." His name wasn't on the boardroom door. There was no chair with his label, no plate with his title. But when the chairman began, the numbers spoke first. Cash flow. Debt. Liabilities. Then a document appeared that had never been shown publicly: the funding agreement. Voting rights. A clause stating that if the investor lost confidence in the company's leadership or culture, administrative changes could be recommended. I hadn't made a recommendation. I had only set a condition: respect mattered. That night, decisions were made quietly. My sister-in-law's name was removed from the agenda. She wasn't called into the room. She waited outside, unaware of what was unfolding. Perhaps for the first time, she learned that power doesn't always arrive loudly. The next day, I didn't start a new job. I took time. I spoke to my husband. For the first time, we told each other the truth without softening it. He was ashamed, but not defensive. He said, "I didn't know." I said, "I never told you." We both learned that silence is also a decision, and often the most expensive one. A week later, the company asked me to come back. A new role. Clear boundaries. Written assurances of respect. I didn't say yes. I offered guidance instead, from a distance. I fixed my credit, moved out of the apartment, and started a small consulting firm. The same work, but on my terms. Sometimes I ask myself what revenge really was. Was it defeating someone? Or was it protecting myself? The day I picked up my bag and smiled, I wasn't weak. I was quiet. And when silence is placed in the right moment, it becomes the loudest answer. I still pass that parking lot sometimes. The cold is still there. But I'm not holding a badge anymore. I'm holding my own keys now. And that is enough for me.